How to get your husband to respect you is for you to respect yourself first, right? And then the simplest way also is not to lose the respect your husband has for you in the first place. In today's video, I present to you 5 ways to maintain the respect your husband has for you. 1. Don't be quiet if you're disrespected. 2. Do what you say you're going to do. 3. Don't become overly familiar with your husband. 4. Be willing to lose him to keep him. 5. Don't disregard your husband's advice. In maintaining the respect your husband has for you, let's paint a picture of what disrespect in marriage looks like. So what does that look like? Some behaviors of disrespect in relationships and in marriages include nagging, criticism, stonewalling, lying, put downs. If you have undue pressure by your spouse, disloyalty, and threats to even end the relationship or marriage. Now that we know what disrespect looks like, how can we avoid it? Well, I've got 5 tips I've picked up along the way on how to avoid disrespect in marriage and also to rebuild respect in your marriage from the perspective of a wife. 1. Don't be quiet if you are disrespected. It is very important not to stay silent if you feel disrespected. Speaking up and expressing how you feel is very important in maintaining a healthy relationship. So if you keep quiet about a disrespectful behavior that has been exhibited, it might continue and your husband may not even realize that it made you feel anyhow way. Open communication. Learn to hear what is being said, but also learn to listen. So being able to speak so that your husband listens and understands allows you to address issues and find solutions. This then makes you both understand each other better. Over time, this works out well. So don't hesitate to speak out, but it's in the way in which you speak out. Put your feelings aside and say what exactly is the problem. So that way you're able to enforce boundaries and your boundaries are acknowledged and respected. Number 2, do what you say you're going to do. You need to keep growing, sis. You need to keep setting those goals and achieving them. Following through on your promises. If you say you're going to do something, make sure you actually do it. Do you know that men find it attractive that you set yourself a goal and you follow through on it? You're not just a talker, you are a doer. So consistency in actions tend to build trust in relationship. Personal growth not only benefits you, but also contributes to the overall well-being and success of your home, your environment. So to your husband, he will find it hot and encouraging if you keep setting goals and you're smashing them. You will find that it motivates your husband to work on his goals too. By continuously setting and reaching those goals, you create this positive and fulfilling path not for yourself, and you're promoting a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction not only in your life but also in your marriage. There are various examples of good wives who continue to grow and to achieve great things, and their husbands are super supportive of them. If you're looking to start a business, don't talk about it, just to go on and start it as long as it is legal, sis. If you're thinking of getting your master's or getting your degree, don't keep talking about it. Just go on, make inquiries and start it. A lot of things can actually be started without money, but a lot of us tend to stop and use money as an excuse. So besides, you need to also think that not achieving your goal can place you in a victim mentality. I'm not sure if you've ever dissected it. For as long as you keep putting on that goal, you would think someone's doing you. Nobody is doing you. It might get to the extent that you subconsciously just blame your inability on your marriage, on your husband. There are women who are doing that, and you don't want to fall prey to that. You don't want to fall into that trap. So you need to keep setting goals and achieving them. And the 3rd point is don't become overly familiar with your husband. Just because you see him every day does not mean you should be shouting at him or shouting his name from across the room. Remain loving. They say a bird in hand is worth how many in the bush? 2. So you need to keep your manners in check all the time, always. Don't become so vulgar for a relationship that has to last you for the rest of your life. You need to be able to take care of it, nurture it, while also thinking about yourself. So don't take advantage of your husband. 4, you've got to be willing to lose him to keep him. What do I mean by that? If you're living in constant fear of losing your husband, then you're doing him a disservice. But more importantly, you're doing yourself a disservice. You cannot nag a man from cheating on you, from talking about you, which is the highest form of disrespect for some people. So to keep him, you have to be willing to let him go. Let him go out with his friends, and you have to be trusting enough to know that whatever decision he makes is of himself. It's nothing about you. He will try to represent both of you. Yes, bear that in mind, but it has nothing to do with you. It might seem paradoxical, which is ironical, but sometimes giving somebody the space and the freedom they need can help you get the best out of them, can help you strengthen the relationship you have with them. Holding on to somebody too tightly or being overly controlling can strain the connection that you have with them. So be willing to let go doesn't mean that you're giving up. Instead, it reflects a willingness to respect each other's individuality and allow that relationship to flourish organically. If you want to keep him, you've got to be okay with the idea of him not being with you all the time. Sometimes giving him space can actually make your relationship stronger. It doesn't mean you're giving up on him. It just means that you're allowing him and letting him be himself, just like you should be able to be yourself. Being too controlling can make things difficult. So you need to trust and understand. And along with that, you need a good balance of spending time together and time apart. They are really important if you're looking to build a strong marriage. Number 5, it's don't disregard your husband's advice, especially when he genuinely tries to help or even share his opinion or perspective. It can make him feel disrespected when you don't take his advice. He will feel undervalued. It's like telling him his thoughts don't matter. That's essentially what you are doing if you disregard it. Men may have a tendency to take pride in their opinions, even if it means driving around lost rather than asking you for directions. Yes, just let it be sometimes. So when a man offers advice, it's consistently ignored. It hurts his sense of worth, and it can be seen as an insult to his intelligence. Sometimes, if you know you won't take his advice by incorporating it into your thought, then don't ask at all. If you're not going to make use of that advice, don't ask. All right. So just to cap this up, communication is key in any relationship. And if you dismiss your husband's input without a valid reason, it can create unnecessary tension. So it's very important to recognize that everyone has their strengths. We all have our weaknesses, and we all have our own perspective. So if you don't always agree with your husband's advice, showing appreciation for what he has said, for his own input, it can go a long way in fostering a sense of mutual respect and understanding. As I always say, my way is not the way, but simply another way of being a woman and a wife. I hope you found today's content valuable. Don't forget to like so that it can reach more wives and wives to be. Follow, subscribe, and share with others.